Welcome to my channel. This week I'm going to be talking about the best cities to live inside Boulder County. Last time I was speaking about Boulder and why it rates very highly in polls nationally, but it is prohibitively expensive. So I want to go over other options for people that would like to get into Boulder, have access to Boulder, live close by, use the schools, yet not pay the price. The average, I think it's the median is close to $1 million now for a house. A lot of polls these days are bringing affordability into their rankings, and it used to be more important about location. Location was all the rage, but now affordability, safety, healthcare, are some of the indices. They were always in the polls, but location seems to be a little less important these days since house prices have kind of taken off for the last 2 years. So in US News, I think Colorado Springs is ranking pretty highly there now. So US News Today this year, I think 2022, Colorado Springs was number 2 and Boulder was number 4. Why has Colorado Springs overtaken Boulder and now everyone wants to live in Colorado Springs? Now it's a great town, I won't diss it, but it's a long way from DIA, and if you like to travel or like access to the rest of the world, it's not bad, but it's 2.5 hours to DIA at least. Traffic's really bad up to Denver. It's kind of cut off, and I had a kid that lived there. It's not my favorite town. So Boulder has everything. I think affordability knocks it down a couple of pegs on all of these polls these days. But like I said in the last video, watch it, Boulder's fantastic. Now, some of the indices that US News uses are, I'm going to read them out right now, the job market index. So it's important to look at that. Employment, unemployment, salaries, affordability. Number 2 is the value index, which actually means housing affordability. That's simple. Number 3 is quality of life. So healthcare, access to the outdoors, satisfaction, education, the quality of education, things like that. Number 4 is desirability. So when they're taking polls, it's simply popularity by question. Where would you want to live if you lived inside of Colorado? So it's just popularity. And number 5 is net migration. So people moving in and out of a city, and births and deaths. They take that all into account for net migration. Now, there are many towns inside of Boulder County. So probably 11 total. You've got Lafayette, Louisville, Superior, Erie, Niwot, Longmont on the south side. You have smaller towns like Lyons, and in the mountains you have Nederland, you have Jamestown, and a couple of others. So I'll be ranking all of those into my top 5 I think are the best places to live inside Boulder County. I'm Gillian Sargeant. I'm a realtor in Boulder County and Denver metro area. So if you're interested in knowing any more about Denver or Boulder, the communities inside of those towns, please hit me up. I answer every message. My contact information is below in the description, my phone number and my email. So coming in at number 5 is Longmont, which is a little bit further out than the rest of the towns inside Boulder County, and it's just the southernmost part of Longmont. So you have its 95,000 population, and I think a really low house price for Colorado is about 580,000 is your median home price there. You're about 45 minutes to Denver, 45 minutes to Fort Collins, and maybe 30 minutes to Boulder, and about 40 minutes to DIA. So it's pretty accessible, a little further out than the other towns I'm going to be talking about today. It's an older town, so it has charm. You have older homes with character. They've preserved the downtown, which is pretty big and extensive. But most of it is St. Vrain School District, which according to niche or niche.com ranks as a B-, and Boulder Valley is usually an A or an A+. So as I said, if you live in the south part of Longmont, you have access to BVSD, which is Boulder Valley School District, and all the great schools in Boulder. So Boulder is, they call it a bubble because it's surrounded by so many rural areas that are protected. So expansion is very limited. So there's not much growth. Hence it drives up the house prices. So Longmont's a great option. It's actually the lowest price point inside of Boulder County. Number 4 is Erie. I love the town of Erie. Again, it's a little further out. I think the price point is about $600,000 for median house price, and it has a population, let's see, of 30,000. It's a really safe little town. It's quaint. It has a little downtown. There's a lot of community events. There's a farmer's market. It's a lovely feel, but there is some expansion in Erie, quite a bit. I'll be covering Collier's Hill in Erie in the next video quite extensively. There are probably 6 or 7 builders, and it's growing quickly. There's so much space around that is not as protected as Boulder. And if you want a view of the vistas, Colorado Front Range, this is the place to live. It's absolutely stunning. The trails are great, accessibility is great for bikes and hikers and runners. But if you need access to big shopping areas, you need to drive a little bit. So you do need to have a vehicle, of course. We're in America, everybody's vehicle. Now, if you don't like slower paced towns, you won't like Erie. It's a little bit more laid back, which is lovely. It feels like you're out in the country, but you have great housing communities and good schools. You have Prospect Ridge up in Erie, and you have access to the toll road that goes all the way to the airport. So from Erie, it's probably 30 minutes to Boulder, 30 minutes to Denver, and maybe 35-40 minutes if you get on the toll road to DIA, which is really accessible. Number 3 is Louisville. Louisville is a great town. It has wonderful restaurants I covered earlier. I think Lulu's Barbecue, Moxie Bread Company, a lovely art gallery, and so many great shops down there. And it's accessible to Vista Hospital, one of the greatest in Colorado, with some top surgeons that work in there. Also, Louisville has kept its quaint downtown. It's protected it. So it has some older homes which have a lovely quaint feel, but there's also a little bit of expansion, not as much as Erie, so it's a wonderful place to live. The population's 20,000, so it's a little smaller, and unfortunately the median house price is $815,000, so it's a little higher, but still not quite Boulder. Coming in at number 2 is Lafayette. I love Lafayette. It's an accessible town as far as affordability, but also distance from Boulder. Now, Erie is great and Longmont, but they're a bit further out. Lafayette's a bit closer into Boulder, and it's closer to Denver. So a great little town to live. Now, the median house price here, similar to Longmont, is $590,000. So much more affordable, about 50% of the median of Boulder proper. Now, Lafayette has access to the Boulder Valley School District, again, which ranks very highly. It's 20 minutes to Boulder, 30 minutes to Denver, 30 minutes to DIA. It's a great central place. Lots of people live here that want to commute into both Denver and Boulder. Now, one of the top ranking schools in the entire state is Peak to Peak, and it's a charter school, and it's actually in right downtown, Old Town, Lafayette. It's pretty walkable. It's more walkable than Erie for sure, and there are lots of great bike trails, and it's really beautiful scenery around Lafayette. The population's about 34,000, so it's smaller than Longmont. It's quite a bit bigger than Erie, but growing as well. Coming in at number 1 is Superior. I love Superior. It's tiny. It's literally only 4 miles square, but there are big plans to grow out this town. It's surrounded by nature, the most beautiful views of the Flatirons. It's close. There's accessibility to Denver. It's 10 minutes to Boulder, 25 to Denver. DIA, you can hop straight on the toll road there. There's an RTD park and ride there. It's fantastic. It ranked number 1 as the best place to live in Colorado. I think it was US News. I think it's number 4 now, and it's just incredible. We do have big plans for expansion, but they started with the sports stable, which is a fitness facility and also orthopedic surgeon. The cornerstone is inside of there, and they have some of the leading surgeons in the state that work in there, and they're going to build out the downtown to make it more accessible to locals. So they want to develop more of a community feel to Superior. It has some of the lowest crime rates in the Denver metro area and the Boulder County area. It also has some of the greatest schools, of course, because it's Boulder Valley District. It's really close, 10 minutes. But you also have access to conveniences like the Flatirons Mall. You have fantastic IMAX movie theater in there. You have a gigantic Costco just down the road, big Target. So it has best of both worlds in my view. It has access to the outdoors, to Boulder, to Denver, to DIA, and access to conveniences, but it's growing and it's safe and great health care. So that's my overview of Boulder County. Please watch for the next video I'll be making, and I think once a week I should be putting up new videos in Boulder County and Denver metro area. So until next time, thanks for watching.